Hello and welcome back to the Uncle Sam's Senior Corner. This week, a news item kind of caught my attention and kind of caught my interest, and that was the recent news about a few days ago when Robert Kennedy Jr., the Secretary of Health and Human Resources, and Brooke Rollins, Secretary of Agriculture, appeared in an interview with Brett Baer, and they were discussing the nutrition programs, how the nutrition programs in schools are now not exactly the very nutrition meals that they're serving. Uh, this is very close to my heart because I used to be in the business, and I know exactly what was going on in schools when I was way back when, maybe a half a century ago, what was going on then and what's going on now. Anyway, it seems to be a new revelation now with Mr. Kennedy and Ms. Rollins regarding using healthy foods. Healthy foods directly from farm to, they call it, to the halls of schools. I seem to recall some time back when this notion was, or this idea was implemented. And I'm going back maybe 35, 40 years ago when we had the same issues where we once said, we should be serving healthy meals and in schools. And there was an initiative. As a matter of fact, the state of New Jersey, under Tom Kean, our governor, we had the Jersey Fresh program, and they intend to have Jersey Fresh programs to bring fresh New Jersey produce and products to the market and in schools, believe it or not. And I think that program is still alive, and schools should have been participating today. But anyway, the idea of serving healthy lunch, that is the idea of Mr. Kennedy and Ms. Brooke Collins. Uh, the idea is good, but it's on you. What I'm a little bit upset about is that all of a sudden these new revelations came about, and it's always been there. It's always been there. I know certain schools districts when I was involved in the programs whereby they were building kitchens. They were not building just uh, dining areas or they were just building kitchens and producing their own meals. There are a few in New Jersey, and particularly there was one which I very much was involved with, where we insisted that meals be produced, the best meals be produced in our own kitchens using fresh products, fresher cooked meats, fresh cookly uh, desserts, even healthy desserts. Well, that was very well done. I don't know, today is everything has changed. And what really changed? Uh, I seem to recall way back when, and again, I was involved with this, where we started processing commodities. But processing commodities, our program, which we started actually in New Jersey, where we took raw products and we let a processor uh, make products which are easy usable, not healthy products. The only products which we really wanted to do is take a ground beef and make it into hamburgers with no additives, just pure ground beef, which USDA used to give to the schools. And we wanted to just process them into hamburgers. And like pork, the pork, so much ground pork, which was given at the time. I'm talking about maybe three decades, maybe 4 decades ago. That we needed a way to process so we could use it and cook in our kitchen. Like pork, there was a processing for sausages, but no extra additive, no preservatives. So just making sausage, just a little seasoning and salt, and that's it. And the sausage were raw; they were not further processed, so that was pretty healthy, so to speak. Well, in this kitchen I'm talking about, the programs were very, very successful. Nutrition programs were very, very, very successful, and the students seemed to enjoy the meals, and there was no waste. Why? Because most of the food was produced in our own kitchen, where cooks and managers were trained to cook from fresh, from scratch, and provide a very healthy meal and fresh meal with no preservatives. Well, since the initiation of this simple processing contract, which we initiated in, say, in New Jersey, it was the first commodity council, advisory council was in New Jersey, and then it kind of expanded nationally because now the USDA has the advisory council also, but it's a national kind of advisory council to the USDA. However, things got kind of lost in a way. They got lost because we didn't go just for simple things where we could just further process in the fresh in schools. We went to very high cost processing in every area, grains and producing meals which had additives and preservatives. It come to a point where the special interests, like the purveyors or the manufacturers of such products, uh, kind of pushed it through the Congress to enhance and enlarge those programs, and they did. Some of the items I didn't agree with because they were not exactly healthy. They said they were healthy, but there was so much preservatives, I would not serve it to the students in my particular district, for instance. Well, that kind of got by the way, and again, they kind of solicited the National School Food Service Association, which kind of went along with them. And of course, their ways of doing things with lobbies and I call it smooching of the powers that be in the association. Things got out of hand. They got out of hand where now we're Mr. Kennedy and Miss Rollins are talking about serving unhealthy foods in schools, where everything went and everything they produce had so much out of those that would not be good to our students. Well, the students really are not, in my opinion, are not eating well. Not eating well because of this processed foods. And Secretary Kennedy and Secretary Rollins are correct. We should go from farm to schools. We should be creating kitchens in schools where you produce food, wholesome food, healthy food in the kitchens. And I agree with that. However, why do we wait? We have to wait 4 decades, 3 decades to do this. Initially, we had a program where we could have done this. Problem is that the money spent, the resources which were spent by U.S. government were spent in the wrong directions. They should have been spent to build kitchens and make sure that each school had a kitchen so it could produce a healthy, fresh meal. That wasn't done, but it was spent on other things. So it's just highly processed foods or, or promotion of certain programs and certain programs which were not useful, such as the processing contracts which were given out by USDA now were beyond what the scope of the original councils or the advisory councils were thinking about. We're thinking about simple processing so we could use fresh foods in a manner which is more quickly cooked and et cetera, et cetera. Well, I hope that Secretary Rollins and Secretary Kennedy are able to accomplish this. I think they're going to hit a big stone wall with all the lobbying in Congress, and that's what it's all about. Who has the biggest lobby will win. And I pray that they be successful in promoting this fresh, healthy foods in schools. We talk about obesity. Well, if your lunch consists of potato chips or some kind of chip which is so highly processed with additives and so forth and so on, and you're not eating the healthy food like the vegetables and the fruits which you should be eating, and the healthy proteins, fresher cooked proteins like meats and poultry, whatever you might use as protein. Well, if you continue this highly processed and very, very intense in additives which make you not healthy. They make you obese because well, they taste good. I mean, salt tastes delicious. And when you add all the other ingredients in highly processed foods, oh, that tastes good. But what happens are empty calories. Empty calories don't go any place except turn into fat. And without exercising, which most American kids are not exercising enough, you know what you're going to have? You're going to have obesity. The program, the school lunch program, is kind of a byproduct of the it's sort of price support for farmers. At one point, after the World War II, farmers, the government had a problem. There was so much production, war production, that farmers had too much foods and the prices were really going down. And rather than making farmers wealthy, or not even wealthy, but just maintaining their way of living, some of them were going bankrupt because they could not sell their product because there's too much of it. So the government created the price support programs, which the school lunch programs are part of it. The food programs are part of it. And that supports the prices for farmers so that the prices of farm goods doesn't go so low that the farmers can no longer afford to produce them. And the lunch program, breakfast program, or any snack programs, after school snack programs, it is a branch of that program. And USDA, of course, is the primary source of the funding for school lunches or breakfast and et cetera, et cetera. Uh, but, it's up to USDA to set the standards. And it's up to Congress to pass those standards. In my opinion, USDA has failed to really promote healthy meals, fresh, produced on site. They have failed to promote that. They spend money in areas which did not do any good. Had they invested in putting kitchens in schools instead of spending frivolous money for processed foods, etc., it would have been a better situation today. I hope that Mr. Kennedy and Secretary Kenny really goes full blast on this. But the problem is we need to get Congress to really act on this, to forget about the lobbies, the big food producers, the big guys which are making all the money. Whenever you buy processed foods, what you're doing is you're farming out labor. You're not making something, and they have to make a profit. So if you're giving a product, say, worth $1 to a processor, he'll process that. But he's going to charge you $2 because he processed it. Whereby if you were to produce in your own kitchen, yeah, you got the labor. Labor's there, so why not use it? You wouldn't have a 100% markup. In some cases, 200% markup. You would actually do better producing yourself and saving money. Not only saving money, but keep people working. That's very important. The economics behind producing your own meals is that you keep people working. People which really need to work, the cooks, the servers, the helpers, the cleanup crew, so forth and so on. It is a big industry, and we just say it is a big, big operation. If you treat it right, you'll be able to not only serve healthy foods, but you could save money. You could save money to the point where the programs will be self-sufficient with, of course, with the aid of USDA, providing funds for those students which cannot afford to buy one. School lunches and school breakfasts do serve another purpose, is to make sure that children which are on a poverty level are well fed, for breakfast, well fed with lunch, even a snack after school if they have after school programs. Well, this is a wonderful idea, but let's serve them healthy food. It is a great idea because some kids do go hungry and the only meals they have is the one they have in schools. So I'm a very great proponent of school lunches, school breakfasts, and school nutrition programs all the way around. Not only that, the nutrition education for students. Students need to learn how to eat. But before that, you have to educate the parents. You would be surprised how many parents, especially at the low income level, the poverty level, really don't know what to buy and what to cook for their kids, if they cook at all. So nutrition education is very important for the students, but you also need to educate the parents. I remember way back when we did not only educate the students through classroom instructions, but we educated the parents. Hmm? Used to have a central parent console on food service where they learned about nutrition, where they learned we used to do what we used to do in our lunch programs and our breakfast program and nutrition programs. That is a big, big thing for any schools. Problem is that schools don't pay attention to that. They don't pay attention to one of the most important programs they have. What they do pay attention is to their curriculum, which is now completely disseminated to what the original curriculums are. They're not even teaching history, and they're not even teaching to write math and we're teaching instead of history, physics, civics, which doesn't include the history of our country. But anyway, getting back to our subject of child nutrition programs, yeah, that's part of the USDA, and yes, we have a problem today whereby we're not serving nutritious lunch in any of the schools. In my opinion, that's been gone. There were a few school districts which did serve good nutritious lunch produced on site. But those school districts now, they even converted to fast foods, pre-plated foods, which is stick in the oven, take it out, and highly processed with a lot of additives. We need to go back to the kitchens. We need to start up and cook fresh food. Mr. Secretary Kenny and Secretary Rollins, I commend you for attempting to do this because this is what we really need. If you want to stop obesity, it has to start someplace, and the school is a great place to start if you have the facilities to do so. Education, not only for the students, but you also must educate the parents. With two household working husband and wife, sometimes children are not eating the right foods. Those people have to be educated that you need to eat the right food, not pick up a soda and potato chips for lunch and eat that because that's an empty calorie. So what it is going to make it worse for your child. So, coupled with the idea of using fresh farm products into our school system, and also aside from the fact that they're trying to install kitchens and they're trying to promote that you cook your own food, which is more healthy rather than cook processed foods. Aside from that, we need the support of Congress to do so. and we need the support of us, the population, the normal citizen, whether you be a grandparent, a parent, or even a student. The only way makes a success this a success is by everyone's participation. Again, I commend Secretary Kennedy. He's getting a lot of grief on some of the ideas which has come, but I am glad that this has been revived. And I just want to let you know, in some schools, this existed already decades ago. But taking the easy out by school districts and the pressure by lobbyists in Washington didn't make the programs nutritious. All they did is make it worse. Remember one thing, that any additive to any food, when overdone, is not going to be healthy for anyone. Some food for thought for everyone, because not only involves school children, it involves adults today. I'll give you an example. Let's say retired people. Oh, I don't want to cook anymore. We're going out to a restaurant. It's fine. It's fine. Restaurant food tastes good. You know why it tastes good? Because they use a lot of fats, and fat tastes good. Do you think it's healthy? No, it's not healthy. But see, even us adults, we need to learn about nutrition. Learn that your home cooking is probably the best thing for your body. And so it goes. Again, Secretary Rollins and Secretary Kennedy, I commend you for your efforts, and I pray to God that you are successful. Thank you for listening to me. These are my opinions and not a political view. Strictly my opinions, and I hope you appreciate some of the insights I gave you and maybe follow through. Thank you for listening. God bless you, and God bless America.